so honored to have one of our youngest Diamond Director from USANA to share with us how this has helped him gain momentum and became one of the top earner in his organization. With that, can we give the warmest applause, hugs, and likes in the chat box, all right, to welcome our executive one-star Diamond Director all the way from Philippines, Mr. Caleb Conrad Edpao. Over to you, Caleb.
Hello, everyone. So good morning. Thank you, Cassandra, for that very lively introduction. All right. So I hope everyone is doing well today. And I hope all of you have already taken your bath. All right. So that you will be really very wide awake this morning as we learn together. All right. And of course, we all know that it's already been like a month, right? That we have been in this quarantine or lockdown. So I believe most of us have already, adapted. Okay? We are already getting used to our situation right now. So of course, in the beginning of the lockdown, a lot of us, we weren't really that prepared. We weren't really expecting the lockdown, but I believe right now there's no choice for all of us but to really adjust, okay, and adapt to the necessary changes that we need to make in order for us not just to survive this lockdown, this crisis that we're facing right now, but to thrive as well. All right. So okay, so I have limited time, so I hope with the time that I have been given, I will be able to really add value to all of you. I will really be able to inspire all of you so that you too can achieve the success that we have achieved also in USANA. And like what they always say, there are there are really no secrets to success, and success leaves clues. So all you need to do is just follow the path successful people have already taken, so that you too can also get to the same destination that we have also arrived. All right. So let me just start to share my screen. So I hope I'm loud and clear because right now I'm using two devices. Okay. So I'll share my screen here first and also here. All right. Okay. So are you all ready? All right. So I hope everyone is ready. If you're ready, type "I'm ready." Right. Type "I'm ready" in the chat box so that at least I would know if everyone is really ready and excited. Okay. So let's begin. All right. So again, my name is, is my screen shared already on both devices? Hold on. Is my screen shared already in this one? Okay. All right. So let's play. Let's minimize this one. Okay, so again, my name is Caleb Conrad Edpao, and I am a BS Applied Math graduate from one of the universities here in the Philippines, Far Eastern University. And hello, am I echoing? All right, so I hope I'm loud and clear. Hello. So I think there's a device that has been unmuted. Okay, can the host please help me? What's that? There's a buzzing sound. Okay, now it's gone. Okay, so let's begin. No? So to those of you who are hearing me for the first time, okay, so I'll introduce myself again. So I'm Caleb Edpao, and your current executive one-star Diamond Director and already $1 Million Club member. So you can also follow me on my social media, my Facebook, and also Instagram account. All right. So right now, to tell you honestly, so I've only gotten like about 2 hours of sleep. It's because I've been really very nervous although I've been with Usana for 11 years now, and every time I would do a presentation or a talk, especially on a large crowd, I would always have this fear, right? But recently, I've heard from one of my favorite motivational speakers, whose name is Les Brown. He said that fear has two meanings. Okay, and the two meaning of fear, the first one is forget everything and run. So I could have, declined this offer and just run away, but I couldn't, miss out on the opportunity that I could also be a blessing and an inspiration to those people who are listening to me right now. So I chose the second meaning of fear, which is face everything and rise. Okay, so we all know right now. Let me just see. Uh-huh. Okay. Yeah. So am I clear? Am I clear? I hope no. Okay. So of course, when we had this lockdown, a lot of people are having this fear because they fear what would happen in the next coming weeks. They fear what will happen tomorrow. Okay, but as we all know, fear of the unknown will always be there, but it's better to always be prepared, right? So that's why right now what we need are proper knowledge and information in order for us to also face this situation that we're in right now with the right perspective. Okay, and of course, even if there will always be fear. So even I myself have been in the business for 11 years now. I would always still have this fear, okay, of talking to people. Sometimes I would always have this fear still of being rejected, being judged by other people. But later we will be talking about it. But the good news is every time you feel this fear or you have this fear, you just remind yourself it's normal. It is normal. It's because all the diamond directors of USANA, I believe, no, have gotten to the point wherein they also had this fear, and the fear of the unknown could have prevented them from becoming successful. But the reason why they are all successful right now is because they chose to face and conquer their fears. Okay, and I would like to remind you of one quote of Dale Carnegie, and he said, "Do the thing that you fear to do and keep on doing it." Okay, because that is the quickest and surest way ever yet discovered to conquer fear. So if you want to conquer fear, the easiest and the quickest and the surest way, okay, ever yet discovered to conquer fear is to just do what you fear to do and keep doing it. All right? Okay, so let me give you a little more, again, background about myself. So I graduated college at the age of 21 years old. Okay, so just for your information on how I got to be invited here in USANA. Okay, so before I actually graduated college, I was actually introduced to business at the age of 19 years old. And when I was already introduced to business at a very young age, that already changed my mindset from really pursuing employment or being employed or pursuing or climbing the corporate ladder to putting up my own business. Okay, because of course we all have majority of us have been brought up with the mindset that you need to go to school, you need to get good grades, get a high paying job, right? And eventually you'll be able to achieve your dreams. But when I was introduced to business, that's when I have seen that the good thing about business, it doesn't matter. Your age is not, really a factor. Your looks is not really that much of a factor in the beginning, right? And your professional background is not really a factor. So what's really important is your willingness to learn, okay? Because everything can be learned. But when I have seen that business is really, the faster opportunity in order for me to get to achieve my dreams. Of course, as we all know, there are so many opportunities out there. But for me, the reason why I chose to do business because I wanted to achieve my dreams faster. And I know that if I will do business, I would be able to have multiple streams of income. And in that way, I would be able to achieve my goals and my dreams faster than just relying on a single stream of income, which is employment. So I'm very grateful for the opportunity that I have. Okay, so thankful. It's because at a very young age, 19 years old, I was already introduced to business. Okay, and that totally changed my perspective with regards to how Brown, who said expanded within to where it was. Okay, my mind was already stretched to the huge opportunity that business can actually offer me, and that's the reason why I never went back to the the mindset of just really pursuing employment or climbing the corporate ladder. So again, there's nothing wrong with employment. It's just that for me, I have seen that there's a faster opportunity in order for me to achieve my dreams. And again, of course, a lot of us here doing this business most probably is not our line of career, but I would just like to remind all of you, okay? So whatever career you're actually pursuing right now, so remember you have spent years studying in order for you to actually not even master your career, but to somehow prepare yourself in pursuing that career. So my point is everything can be learned. And as we all know, this famous quotes by Jim Rohn, right? And Mark Twain. So they were the ones who actually said, or Jim Rohn said, formal education is what will make you a living, but self-education is what will make you a fortune. So what we're doing right now, this is actually part of our self-education. But as you would see, the good thing about self-education, it is free, right? So because before, of course, people who have educational background, people who went to school has an advantage is because they are the ones who have access to information. But nowadays, everyone, as long as you have internet, everyone now have access, or everyone has access to information. And that's why what we're talking about right now is what information are you acquiring? Because we all know information changes situations. Okay? So whatever situation you're in right now, if you want your situation to improve, if you want your situation to change, then you need to acquire information that will help you change or help you get out of the situation that you're in right now. So it's very funny. It's because right now during lockdown, so I'm just staying here at my unit, at my condominium alone. So there's lockdown and I couldn't actually order food outside. So I have learned to cook food by myself. So I have learned to cook tinola. So to those of you who have not heard about tinola yet, so it's a Filipino dish. You can search it on YouTube. Okay. So I just searched on YouTube on how to cook tinola, how to cook adobo, and surprisingly, I just followed the steps on how to cook those dishes, and surprisingly, they really taste good. So that's why I said I have actually learned a new skill this lockdown. That's why there are so many opportunities. There are so many. We have so much time right now, and so much time to really learn new things. Okay? This lockdown is really opening doors for a lot of people to learn new things, and that's why I again would like to remind you, that don't close your mind to the other things that you can actually learn and be good in. Okay, all you need to do is just spend time with regards to what we call self-education. So there's one video that I have watched recently, and he said, "How many of you have a degree, a 4-year degree or a 5-year degree for engineers?" And a lot of people raised their hands. Okay, and he said, "But how many of you have read a business book in the last 30 days?" And almost 95% of those people who raised their hands who have a degree, okay, they put their hands down. So that just means, he said, that a lot of people, when they finish college, they already stop investing on what we call self-education. So as we all know, education should be a lifelong, okay? It's a lifelong need, okay? It's something that we always need to educate ourselves as we all grow older, so that we won't just grow old, but as we grow old, we are also growing up, okay? And Mark Twain was the one who also said, "I never allowed schooling to get in the way of my education." So right now, to all of you, we all have different professional backgrounds, and to most of you, business is a new thing for you. But I'm telling you, almost majority of the successful people here in USANA started from scratch. Okay, started with no knowledge about business, but again, they just spent time, effort, and their resources to learn more also about this business. Okay, so since I was introduced to business at a very young age, and that's the reason why I got into a huge debt, because I didn't have experience. So this is me when I was already 23 years old. So at the age of 23, I got into a huge debt. So here in the Philippines, it's a big amount. This was way back 2008. Okay, I got into a huge debt of about 10,000 US dollars. So in the Philippines, it's around 500,000 pesos. So given that I am only 23 years old, I didn't have stable source of income. I wasn't employed, and the business that I was in was the only source of income that I have, and that actually closed down, and that's why I got into a huge debt when I was 23 years old. So sometimes, when you get to listen to most of the success. All right, so I'm seeing a lot of people raising their hands. Are you hearing me clearly? Okay, here in the Philippines, are you hearing me clearly? All right, okay. Hold on. Hello, everybody. Hold on a minute. I'm just gonna check whether we're doing good in the other. Hello. Why is everyone raising their hands? Just a minute. Choppy. Okay, so I'm choppy. Internet connection is not that good in this. I believe it's because of my. Okay, so not clear, no? How about the other device? Am I clear? This other device, okay. So, okay, so maybe, but if I exit here, so I might not be able to log in again, but let me try. Is it okay if I will restart my laptop so I can, okay. No. Okay, so, all right, so let's just continue, no? Okay, sige. Although my internet is actually doing well, so I just believe it's because of my laptop. So it's because of my laptop, but on my iPad, it's actually doing okay. So am I clear now? All right. So if people can actually, just remove their cameras first, okay? And I will turn off my camera as well. Okay. I'll stop my video so at least you can focus on the slide. All right. Let's go back. Okay. So now we're good. Okay. Okay. Going back. Sorry for. We just had a few technical difficulty. All right. Okay. So now, as you would see, given also my health background, so my health also usually suffered a lot because of stress. But of course, when I was young, I used to really get sick a lot, and that's the reason why I really enjoyed the products of Visaris, because it has greatly improved my health. But going back to the topic, okay, let's go back. So a lot of successful people in Sana, if you will study and get to know their backgrounds, most of them, had this very tragic experience, or they have this very hard life and that's the reason why that was their motivation for really taking this business seriously, is because once we saw USANA as a solution to our problems during that time. Okay, so for me, my problem was, of course, my health, but that wasn't really much of a priority during that time because I feel that I'm still young. Right? But thanks to you, Sana, that I've been educated properly about health. And now, my primary concern during that time was actually my finances. And we all know about it. So the two main aspects of our lives that Yusan is being offering a solution to is our health and finances. Because if our health and finances suffers, then most likely all the other aspects of our life will actually be greatly affected too. But here's the lesson that I have learned actually from this experience. I have learned that sometimes, okay, God is going to allow us to go through certain problems and circumstances in life. It is not because He wants to punish us, okay, not just really because He wants to punish us. I believe it is more on to teach us a lesson. It is more on He is actually wanting to change something in us. Okay? So remember, when you discern on what is it that God is teaching you and what are the things that you need to change in yourself in order for you again to change the situation that you're in. So Jim Rohn said, remember, our life only gets better not by chance but by change. Nothing changes if nothing changes, right? Right? And if there's also a lyric from a song, if you want to make the world a better place, change. That I have also learned that when you pray to God for an opportunity, okay, when you pray to God, Lord, I want to be healthy. Lord, help us with our finances. Most people, when they pray, they expect God to, do a miracle. Okay, they just pray and wait for God to do a miracle. But I believe when you pray to God, you need to start to be sensitive with the opportunities that you are being surrounded with. It's because most of the time, that's the way how God answers our prayers. And I have learned that from the movie of Bruce Almighty, when he prayed to God for his family to be close. And then eventually, there are a lot of problems that came into their family, up to the point that they almost got separated. And during that moment, he questioned God and he said, Lord, I pray to you for my family to be close, but why is it that you're giving us so much problems and you're trying to, keep us apart? And then God answered in the form of Morgan Freeman. He said, if you pray to God for patience, do you think God will give you patience, or will He give you the opportunity to be patient? Of course, when we pray to God for something, expect that He will give us an opportunity for us to get that what it is that we're actually praying for, right? And I always remind the people that I talk to, my leaders, that when you pray to God, again, remember uh, that don't expect God to do all the thing for you, okay? Because there are things that God expects us to do. And again, don't expect God to do the things that He expects you to do. So God expects us to work hard. God also expects us uh, to trust Him. But of course, as we all know, faith without action is dead. Okay? And that, the reason why I said that, it is because during that time when I got into a huge debt, that's when Usana came to us. Okay? And I believe, no, that was 2008. So I've heard about Usana November of 2008. And this is one of the videos that really got me excited about Usana and got me confident that Usana is really such a great opportunity. And I don't know if some of you, especially the new ones, are familiar about this video. Of course, all the old distributors of Usana, you are very much familiar with this video. And let me just play the video.
Hello, Usana. This is Robert Kiyosaki.
Hello, Usana. This is Robert Kiyosaki, and I'm very excited about working with you in 2008. As you know, the economy is a little shaky, so it is the perfect time to be in the Usana business. So look forward to seeing you August 2008 in Salt Lake City. See you there.
That video is because when I was new in Usana, I would always play that video to my prospects, and if they cannot hear it, I will be the one translating the video to them, right? So as we all know, Robert Kiyosaki is one of the business gurus, and he is actually the one who really helped me set my mind to go to business. Because when I was reading his book, he said in the book, you're going to work hard anyway. Why not work hard on something that you own? If you're going to work hard anyway, work hard on a business, something you own, something you can pass on to generation to your kids, right? So that also really made so much sense to me. And that's why I decided to pursue business. So the reason why I also showed you this video is because to most of you who are familiar with the economics status during that time, 2008, I believe that year was also the same year when there was a global crisis as well. So there was a global recession. So a lot of people got laid off from their jobs. A lot of people lost their jobs, okay? And the economy was actually bad also during that time. But look at what Robert Kiyosaki said in that video. That was August of 2008, right? The convention of USANA. And he was one of the invited speakers. And he said, as you all know, the economy is a little shaky. So it is the perfect time to be in the USANA business. Right now, it's happening again, okay? We're all familiar with the saying, history repeats itself. But it was the same like situation that where we got into USANA, and look at where we are right now. In short, in times of crisis, we've always been hearing about this. In times of crisis, there will always be opportunity. So the question right now is, where are you focusing yourself in right now? Are you focusing yourself with the problems, or are you focusing yourself on the opportunities that are actually available right now? Okay. And of course, there's a saying, be careful what you wish for. So when 2020 entered, January of 2020, I remember myself always telling my distributors that 2020 is going to be like 2009. So I was telling them, because USANA opened here in the Philippines in 2009, I was telling them 2020 is going to be like 2009 because this is going to be the first year of another decade for USANA. Okay, so here in the Philippines, okay, this is the first year of another decade running for USANA. And that's why I somehow felt that 2020 is going to be like 2009 because everyone, even us, the leaders, are starting the business as if we're new again in the business. Okay, we're again very much excited on what's going to happen in the next 10 years of USANA. But like what I've said, be careful what you wish for, right? So right now, because of this lockdown, it really feels that everyone is starting new right now. It's because we're all starting to adapt to this new change. Actually, this has already been available a long time ago, but I believe it's not something that we have all been maximizing. Okay, but right now we have no choice but to really maximize the online, which it has already been there a long time ago. And right now, it's a great opportunity for us to really see the power of internet. Okay, so right now, even if the convention, AP convention has been postponed, so thanks to USANA Corporate for making the initiative to do this. So it's as if we still have the convention right now because we can get to learn and listen to different successful stories of different diamonds and star diamonds of USANA. Hey, so that was when I got to start with the business. So this is my day one in USANA. So as you would see, I'm so young. Okay, so I was still young, but I already look old. Okay, and again, there's always a perfect timing for everything because I said if COVID was already available 2009, then you would probably not be hearing from me right now. Because when COVID hits me, probably a few seconds, I will probably die already because my health was really suffering a lot during that time. But at my back, as you would see, that's mentor Nathaniel Sunyo, and he is also one of the leaders who have helped me and supported me grow my business in USANA. So this is me. This is my day one in USANA. So I would like to for everyone to recall your day one in USANA. What was the feeling that you were having during your day one? it's actually a mix of emotions. We're all excited, but at the same time, with the excitement that we're feeling, we're also, we're having this fear, we're having this uncertainty, we're nervous at the same time. To most of you, this is the money that you invested in Yusan is the last money that you have. But again, if you don't invest it, eventually you will probably be just spending it, okay, and not be able to create another source of income. But if you invested it in Usana, it's good job for you. It's because you put your money, because I believe in the principle, if what you have in your hand is not enough, then that means what you have in your hand is not your harvest. Okay, so this is powerful. Okay, again, if what you have in your hand is not enough, then that means what you have in your hand is not yet your harvest. What you have in your hand is a seed. Okay, so if you have money right now in your bank and the money that you have in your bank is not enough, then remember that money that you have is not yet your harvest. That money that you have is your seed. Okay, and what you need to do is plant that seed where it will grow and what? Bear fruits, bear more money again. Okay, if what you have right now, you're telling yourself, I don't have much time, then that means the time that you have right now is your seed. The question is, where are you going to plant that seed? If you plant that seed on a good opportunity, a good soil, then eventually you will have more time in the future. So again, that's a very powerful.
Thank you, Caleb. Caleb, do you
Yes.
think you can share the screen on the Philippine side? So while you are doing that, I would like to inform everyone, because there is technical some difficulties, we will definitely have Caleb to talk to us a lot more. We're going to extend another 15 minutes so that we can hear a lot more from him. All right? Yep, it's okay.
All right. There.
This side, the screen is here. The other share the screen.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you again for reminding me. So don't worry. You actually, in the Philippines, you actually didn't miss a lot, because that was only 2 slides. So at least right now you're seeing again the picture. Okay. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, are we good? Are we good?
Yes, we are good here.
How about the Philippines? Naglalag ba? Naglalag. Okay, okay. All right. So, we're good, we're good. Okay. Just unmute those mics who are not muted again. Let me close this. All right. Okay. Now we're good. Okay, so, and this is also the person who invited me in Usana. His name is Billy James de la Fuente, so mentor Billy de la Fuente. So we've been together in business. He was also actually, all right, so he was also actually the first person who introduced me to business. And that is why I'm very grateful and thankful to him. So he is also one of the leaders who have greatly helped me, okay, become successful in Usana. So, okay. All right. So just continue. And of course, during my first year in Usana, you are muted now. Okay, I am also muted. So please unmute me. Okay, I'll just stop my video here. Okay, so of course, this is the time when I was already starting to, invite friends, invite relatives, introduce Susana to my relatives, family, and friends. But of course, I was having a very tough time introducing Susana to them, because as you would see in that picture, I really look very skinny, no? And every time my friends would ask me, so what business are you in right now? I would always tell them I have a new business. So what business is that? And I would tell them it's different now. Okay, my business right now is I'm in the health business. And they would tell me, okay, come back to us when you're healthy already. So of course, I faced a lot of because of course the people who knew me during that time, they okay and situation during that time. But of course, again, that I've always been having doubts in the beginning. I was also thinking about quitting the business. There were so many times when I've thought of quitting Usana, but every time I would just remember what one of my mentors told me, when success is just right around the corner. So every time you're thinking of quitting Usana, just remember, because you're probably been facing a lot of rejections already in your business, but just tell yourself the temptation to quit is greatest when success is just right around the corner, right? And of course, when I decided to continue on the business after a year, that's when I started to really become intentional. And we've all been hearing about this, no? Success is intentional. And that's why I put here on my slides the question, do you want to succeed in Usana? So the reason why I'm asking the question, do you want to succeed in Usana? It's because everyone wants to become successful. Okay, but as we talk about success, there are also so many opportunities wherein we could be successful in. So that's why we also need to be specific. Now, wanting to become successful in life and choosing Usana as one of your vehicles to reach that level of success, then you also need to be intentional to be successful. Quote, I forgot who actually quoted this, but he said, all of us have the will to succeed, but very few have the will to prepare to. On my story on before Usana and when I first start during my first years in Usana, it's because all of the failures that I have had in the past, I've just realized that they were all preparation. Okay? So they were all preparing me to become better in this opportunity in Usana. And that's why even if you're new right now in Usana, it's normal. You will make mistakes. You will have commit mistakes. But again, there's no one who actually fails in Usana. There are just those people who quit. Okay, and if you won't quit and you will keep on trying and you will keep on learning, you will eventually become better, and your ratio in actually doing the business will increase, and eventually, I believe that you will reach the success that you want in Usana. Okay, so remember, okay, it is actually preparation, okay, that builds our foundation. And if you will try to have that kind of perspective that whatever mistake or failure you will face in this business, that is not going to stop you, but that is going to prepare you to get the next level. Okay. So, of course, success is intentional. And that's the reason why, as early as now, you also need to be clear. Okay, so you also need to be clear about why you are doing Usana. You also need to work on, your identity. Okay, so if you are now intentional about wanting to succeed or succeeding in Usana, then you have to start now embracing as part of your identity, embracing Usana as part of your identity. Okay, so like what I always say, if you are a doctor, everyone somehow knows you that you are a doctor. Everyone you know knows you that you're a doctor. If you're an engineer, people know you that you're an engineer, right? Especially if you're a successful engineer, everyone will know that you're a successful engineer. Now, you want to become successful in Usana, then you have to embrace it, okay? Embrace it that everyone must know that you are Usana. Everyone must know that you are successful, okay? Or you will become successful in Usana. Embrace that. And since Usana is also a business, Usana is in the industry of direct selling or network marketing, you also need to embrace, okay, network marketing and business as part of your identity. Every one of us need to be clear about our identity. Right now, if you want to succeed in USANA, you have to be clear about your identity. You are now an entrepreneur. You are now a leader. You are now a businessman. You are now USANA. Okay? And being clear about your identity will help you stay in it. Right? Because I know that I was born for this, right? USANA is actually part of my identity, and I will really become successful in this no matter what. Because I also believe that when things are clear to us, when our identity is clear to us, when our why is clear, when our goals are clear, okay, then that's when we really have more confidence. Okay? And that's why I said here that clarity is more important than confidence. Of course, we all know that confidence sometimes is really, or most of the time, is really the key. Okay, but having clarity in what you're doing and why you are doing it and who you are, okay, is more important than just really being confident. Okay, so again, when there is clarity, proper actions and also decisions will eventually follow. All right. So now, if as we talk about being intentional, no, of course, I believe that there's a big difference between these two. There's a big difference between the intent, and there's also a difference between in being intentional. And I believe everyone's intention is to become successful, but not everyone is intentional to become successful. And I believe if starting today, you are really realizing, oh yeah, it is my, I want to become successful. So that's an intention. But now working on yourself, starting to put in the action is now really being intentional about it. And if you're already being intentional of becoming successful, you now get to this point of, I believe, maturity also with regards to your results, that you have a change in your attitude, that you now start to become responsible and accountable for your own results. Results you will have in USANA, okay, or in your life, whether good or bad, you deserve it. If you're experiencing something bad right now, you deserve it. You deserve it because I believe that is the consequence of the wrong decisions that you have made in the past. Okay, but we all believe that we deserve a better life. Then we just have to prove to ourselves that we are really deserving of that better life. So again, no one is going to be held. It is one of the principles that I really live by, because 2010, when I made the decision to take this business seriously, and I was really intentional of becoming successful in USANA, then that's when I told myself that starting from now on, I will totally be held accountable and responsible for my own results. You stop blaming the circumstances. You now stop blaming your circumstances. You now stop blaming your situation. You now stop blaming the people around you. But you now recognize that it is your fault. And I believe if you're truly intentional on wanting or on becoming successful in USANA, you should get to this point of attitude or perspective, or you should be actually living by this principle that whatever happens to me, whether good or bad, it is my fault. Okay? And one good lesson or illustration, personal experience that happened to me, I got into an accident. I actually bumped someone. But when I bumped someone, when I was backing up, I bumped someone on the side. Then when we both got into the side of the street, when we both went down our cars, surprisingly, even if it was actually my fault, okay? So as you would see in the picture, my bumper and my muffler got actually messed up, okay? But when we both got out of our car, surprisingly, I was, admittedly, it's really my fault. But when he also got out of his car, he was also recognizing somehow his fault. So both of us getting out of our cars, we were both apologizing to each other. And we were saying, sorry. I told him, I didn't see you in my camera because that was a night time when it happened. And he was the one who said to me, oh, I'm sorry too. I thought you won't be able to hit me. okay, won't just be able to elaborate on the situation. So we got to the site to look at the damage of our cars. Then eventually, the other driver told me, okay, so let's just have our car fixed by ourselves. And then, of course, I was already willing to take responsibility of fixing his car. But when he told me that, I was shocked and surprised. And I asked him, are you sure? Is that really okay with you? And then when he told me, yeah, it's okay because the damage in your car looks actually even more expensive. Okay? So, but I believe it was because of both of us were recognizing our own faults. And that's the reason why we just both agreed to take responsibility of it. And the lesson that I can share from that experience is this: how easy it is to solve problems, how easy it is to move on if every individual would recognize their own fault. Right? Because I believe if we were both, blaming each other and he was also blaming me, that conversation could have taken, more time and until the police would come there and take pictures and all, right? But it happened just in less than a minute. We went down the car, apologized to each other, look at the damage, and take full responsibility and drove off. Right? So that's one great lesson that we can learn also from that experience. And I want you to, starting right now, if you intend and you are intentional about becoming successful, you really have to start taking full, okay, 100%, right, accountability and responsibility of your results. Okay? And of course, if you are also intentional about becoming successful, you now stop what? Expecting also so much from other people. Because remember, we don't have the power to change people, but the only power that we have is to change ourselves. And even if we have the power to change ourselves, the question is, do you find it hard to change yourself? I believe, no, all of us really find it hard to actually change ourselves. But since we already find it hard to change ourselves, then the more it is harder, I believe, to change other people. And that's why, okay, starting from now on, being intentional to become successful, you take responsibility and you don't really expect other people to change for you, but you just have to change, because the only power that we can have towards other people is we can inspire them to change. So as we work on developing ourselves and improving ourselves, then eventually those people surrounding us, as they see the improvement, they will also be inspired to make the necessary changes that we've made for us. Okay? All right. And of course, from others is really what through it grow also this business, because instead of expecting from other people, I expected more from myself. Okay, so being intentional to become successful, you now stop expecting so much from other people, but you now start expecting more from yourself. Okay? And another thing, if you're now intentional with what is it that you want to happen in your life, you just grow and mature, and you just realize, okay, that you cannot please everyone. And not everyone will get to understand what you're doing. Okay? But even if they don't understand, that's still our job. Our job is to help educate people, educate them about health, educate them about finances, about wealth, and educate them about the vision that our company has, and educate them about the vision that we also have for ourselves. Okay, but even if they don't understand it, it's okay. Okay, if you get rejections from the people closest to you, it's okay, because I believe most of the time the hardest decisions to make for ourselves, okay, are the life-changing decisions. And those life-changing decisions, the reason why it's hard, it is because it requires us to really get out of our comfort zone. It actually requires us to make big risks. And that's why those people who are concerned about us, okay, most of the time they are really going to discourage us, not because they don't want us to succeed, but it's because they're probably judging us based on who they know, or who we are to them. Okay, and they're judging our capabilities. And this is one great example, because when I started this business, my family was all, even my parents, they were also very negative about my decision, because of course I've gotten into a huge debt because of network marketing. And then eventually my parents also thought that USANA is just the same. Okay, but I just posted this last Thursday because as you would see, April 16, 2014, when I posted this was the time when that was the year 2014 when I already became a diamond director in USANA, and that's when I was already able to start paying back, okay, to my parents. And my caption there: in life, we sometimes will come to a point where we have to decide for ourselves, which most of the time the people closest to us wouldn't be able to understand why we have to make such decision. But at the end of the day, if one of the major reasons for doing it is for them. So I believe all of our goals, the goals that we have for ourselves, is not just for ourselves. The goals that you have for yourself is not just for yourself. It's also for the people you love. It's also for the people that you're concerned about. But again, most of the time, they are the ones who won't be able to understand why is it that we're making such a risky decision in doing this business. But of course, it's not really risky. Doing USANA is a calculated risk, okay? But someday, they surely will do understand by the time you have already gotten the success that you want in USANA. Okay, and I like what I've said. I also made a post there. Every day of our lives, we make decisions. Even indecision is a decision not to make a decision. But remember, life-changing decisions, I believe, are always the hardest and scariest decisions to make, because it mostly requires us to take the road that is less traveled by, right? But that being said, it makes the people who care for us really concerned to the point that they could be the one discouraging you from pursuing that path. But I challenge you to stand up for what you believe is right and best for you to achieve your dreams. Remember, an arrow can only be shot by pulling it backward. So the more we, the arrow, are being pulled back, the harder we must fight against it. Persistence and hard work will surely pay off. So keep solidifying your foundation. Stay stay present in the work that you are doing. Maximize all the resources available, so that when that arrow finally launches, you are fully ready to receive all that you deserve, right? So right now, my parents, they are also very proud of my achievements in USANA, and I now have their full support in the business, okay? And just try to imagine that if I also gave in to their discouragements during that time, all of us would suffer that consequence. Since I fought for what is it that I'm seeing for myself in this business, not just for myself, but also for my family, I stood up with my decision. I stand firm with decision. And that's why if you're, again, intentional of becoming successful in USANA, you now stop caring about what other people will say. Things happen for yourself in this business. Okay? So now, let's talk about what are the things that you need to actually work on in order for you to also become successful in USANA. So starting right now, I want you to really not focus so much on the rewards, not focus so much on the income. I'm not saying it's not important, but I want you to focus yourself more on the process. Okay, and the process takes a lot of, the process has so many responsibilities. The process requires hard work. The process requires so many sacrifices. Okay, and that's the reason why we should be focusing more on the responsibilities, embracing more on the responsibilities rather than embracing the rewards. Okay, so don't focus on the results, focus on the process and enjoy the process. The results will eventually follow. Now, all of us want to have a huge income in this business, right? So in order for us to have a huge income in this business, we all must have leaders in our organization. So I always ask my leaders, do you want to have leaders also in your organization? And all of us, everyone who will join USANA are really wishing that they will be able to find a great leader, one on the left and one on the right. If I get to find a hardworking leader, a great leader, one on my left, one on my right, then I'm good to go. Now I can become, I can just sit at home and do nothing and let them do the work. No, it doesn't work that way. Okay? If you want to have leaders in your organization, okay? So of course, again, I ask people, no, why do you want to have leaders? Because people want leverage. Okay? But I'm not saying leverage is a bad thing, but for me, if you're new right now and you're building, even us, if we are building our new lines right now, we don't really think so much of leverage, but of course, there's already leverage because we have resources, we have other leaders who can also help us as well. But even if we're starting to build our new line right now, we have to again start from the basic, okay? And we have to go through this process that I will be sharing to you again if we're going to build our new line. So meaning, whatever it is that you're going to do, if you're a new distributor right now building your business, the same thing that we are continuously doing right now as we continuously grow our business, right? So now the question to most people is, so how do I develop leaders? So my answer to that is this, okay? In order for you to become effective in developing leaders, then you have to develop yourself first as a leader, okay? And remember, there are 3 S's in becoming more effective in developing leaders. And this is actually based on my experience, right? And I hope you will really, this is very simple. And I believe all of you knows about this already. But again, let's go back. Even if you know these things already, but the question is, are you intentional in doing these things? Because sometimes, again, that's what we lack. The reason why we are not, again, being intentional, maybe our identity has been blurred out because of the so many problems that we've been facing. But again, make sure your identity is clear. You're an entrepreneur. You will become a successful entrepreneur. You will become a successful USANA associate, right? And you are a leader, okay? And you have to be clear about your why and be clear again with revisit your why, revisit your vision, revisit your goals, okay? So now, what are these 3 S's that will help us become more effective in developing leaders? Number 1, we all know this, okay? We need to really work on improving our skills. So like what I've said, if this is your first time to do USANA, of course, everything that you're going to do for the first time will be hard because you're not really that much familiar about it yet. You haven't done it, you haven't done it yet. Okay, but the moment you start doing it, you start learning about it, you start being familiar to it, you start being comfortable about it. Okay, and like what I said, no, you can watch videos all day long. You can watch, like, for example, how to shoot a basketball, how to dribble a basketball. You can watch videos, training videos every day, but you will never learn the skill until you start dribbling the ball. You will never learn the skill until you start shooting the ball. Okay, so right now you're probably listening to me. Most of you have probably listened to so many trainings with regards to the skills on how to invite, the skills on how to present, the skills on how to navigate the hub, okay, how to do the closing. Okay, so those are the basic skills that we need to learn about this business, but you will never become good at it unless you really start doing it. And I would like to remind you about the quote: you don't really need to be great in order for you to start. Okay, you just really need to start in order for you to be great. And remember, repetition is the mother of learning. Jim Rohn was the one who actually said it. The often you do something, eventually a ratio will appear. But of course, as you do it very often, that ratio will eventually increase as you become better in doing doing that thing that you're doing. Okay, so for me, to tell you honestly, people ask me, Mentor Caleb, what is that one skill? Okay, of course, there are a lot of skills that we need to be really good at in working on this business. But most people would ask me, what is that one skill that I really need to master? For me, let me tell you about this. The one thing that everyone, all of us, need to master if you want to become successful in USANA is you really need to be good. Okay, you really need to master the presentation of USANA, the true health and the true wealth presentation of USANA, the health and freedom presentation. Because for me, again, that is what will give you, number 1, you yourself, confidence about the business that you're in. Because the people who are actually joining us, their reason for joining us is because, first of all, they see that we are serious in the business. But I always ask my leaders, how can you show the people that you're talking to that you're serious in the business? Of course, the action is better than, action is better than words, okay? Speak louder than words. Yeah, that's what. Actions speak louder than words. So, but even if you tell those people that you're talking to, I'm serious in the business, even with full conviction, but again, if they don't see something in us or an action that we're doing, then we won't be able to fully convince them that we're really serious in the business. And for me, if you don't know how to present your business, that shows, again, first of all, that you are not serious in this business, because no one gets into a business and does a business that they don't know anything about. Okay? So as a new associate, let me tell you this. It doesn't take a month. For me, 1 month is already a long time for you to be good in presentation. What you need to do for you to be good in presentation, you know what? You just really need to be intentional about it. Because if you are truly intentional to develop that skill, I believe you will probably right now, even if you're new right now, you would probably be listening all day long to so many presentations so that to familiarize yourself. And then most probably tomorrow, you will start presenting. You will start practicing in front of the mirror. You'll start recording yourself on how you present the business, right? So for me, if you're intentional, 1 month is a long time in order for you to be good in presentation. Okay? So again, skills are very important. And if there's one skill that we really need to be good at, we really need to be good in presentation. Because one illustration that I always use when it comes to skills is this. Let's say I'm going to invite you to ride my car and we're going to drive uphill. Okay, we're going to drive uphill. But what if I will tell you that it is going to be my first time to drive and I actually don't know how to drive? So the question is, will you ride the car with me? Most probably you wouldn't, because you don't see that I have the skills. And that's the reason why sometimes I believe a lot of new associates are probably having or are being rejected by the friends or by their friends or the people that they invite or the people that they know that they invite in the business, because it's not really just about you, Sana, but I believe it's their judgment of you, right? But it's okay. You just have to show them that, inform them that you're just learning about the business first. But that's the reason why you have to really be intentional so that you will learn the skills faster. And then when you start inviting your friends and talk to them about Usana, they can see that you're really serious about this, because given that you're still new in the business, but you already know and you have somehow, mastered a little bit your business. That will give them confidence to join you in the business. Okay? So be intentional on developing the necessary skills, inviting, prospecting, presentation, closing, and of course, the basic technicalities of our business. 1 month is a long time if you are, again, intentional. Okay? Now that you have developed skills, you want to develop leaders, okay? You already have the skills with you. Those skills are meant not just for you to acquire, but for you to use it as a service to your people. And that's why when I was new, I remember every time I would invite someone, I would do the presentation. And in my closing, I would tell them, if you join me right now, I will really help you. All the people that you know of, I can do the presentation for you. So I was always offering the skill or the skills that I have, okay, as a service to all of the people that I actually bring into the business. And again, as people join your organization and as you offer the services, okay, that you do for them, I believe that the service, the second S, service is what will help increase or develop or build their respect to you. Okay? Because I believe leadership is influence. And if you don't have the skills, again, it will be hard for you to influence other people. And if you don't have the respect of people, it will also be hard for you to have influence over them. Okay? And I like what Jim Ron actually said. Oh, it's not included in the other slide, but let me just recite it, no? So Jim Ron said this: whoever renders service to many puts himself in line for greatness, great wealth, great return, and great satisfaction, great reputation, and great joy. Remember that. Okay? So that's why, as you would notice, no, just try to observe all the star diamonds, all the diamond directors, all the emerald, rubies, even the gold directors in your organization. These are the people who have rendered great service to their people, right? It takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of responsibility, but again, as we all know, and this is what's ironic about service, no? Sometimes there are leaders who would, go an extra mile, help even cross lines, spend their time helping other teams. But as they do that, just come to think of it, they are using their time to even serve other people who will not even benefit them. But why is it that those people who would really render service, okay, that's the irony for me. That's the irony of service, of great service. Because sometimes even if you do service to people that whom you won't benefit from, the more that you are actually being blessed, the more that you are actually, becoming successful. Because I believe there is more satisfaction in giving rather than in receiving. Okay? So, to all new associates and even to leaders, sometimes maybe this is the one that we already neglect to do. Okay? That's why we have to be intentional that if we want to become successful in Sana, being of service to our people, okay? Intentional. No one ever coasts, okay? No one ever coasts climbing up a hill. The only time you coast is when you're going down the hill. Because when you're climbing up the hill, you don't say, oh, you know what, I got here, I got up here just by coasting. I don't know how I actually got here. I was just, riding a bike, and eventually I just coasted my way up here. So no one ever coasted their way going uphill. Okay, you coast your way going down, but going uphill takes effort, takes a lot of effort, takes a lot of sacrifices, right? So in order to do that, you have to be, again, intentional. All right. Now, I believe that if you have the skills and if you're good at the skills, again, don't just learn the skills, master the skills. Okay. And if there's one skill that you need to master, every one of us really need to be good or master the presentation. Because someone asked me, Mentor Caleb, what if you have already mastered the presentation, but you don't know how to invite? Then who are you going to present your business to? I believe that if I've mastered the presentation, even if I'm not good in inviting, I can just, talk to my seatmate, talk to my neighbor, and I don't actually need to invite them. No, that's just, looking at it on a perspective. What if the only skill that I have is presentation? If you're good in presentation, everyone you talk to, I believe you can help educate them about the beauty of the opportunity of USANA that we are offering them. In that way, if they're properly educated, then they will see the value, then they will join you. Okay? And the last is results. So just for me to make a triple S, so like what I've said, no, that the triple S in order for you to become effective in developing leaders. So skills, service, and dollars. Okay, but I have thought of a word, salary. Okay, so that it will be also an S. So remember, do not focus so much on the results, but focus on helping people, focus on developing yourself, and eventually the results will follow. And remember this, your results will only be just validation of your skills and also your service to your people. It's a validation, okay, of your skills and service. Right? It's just going to be an outcome. And I remember what one of the great motivational speakers we have here in the Philippines, Francis Gon, said, you know what? Profits and losses are merely outcomes. They are outcomes of what? Outcomes of our stewardship. Okay, if you have money right now, it's an outcome. Remember, whatever results you have right now, it is an outcome of the decision and an action that you have made, right? So right now, these are the things that I always remind my leaders, and this is what I would like to share to all of you. If you're new right now, we all know about this, but the question is, are you intentional? If you're intentional, then you should really be, when you wake up in the morning and tell yourself, I want to be good in presentation. The moment you wake up in the morning, now you start listening to presentations, you start taking down notes about the how they call the outline of the presentation, the keywords that you don't want to miss is. Okay? And again, if you have these 3 S's, I believe, no? Okay, so somehow we're on time. If you have these 3 S's, you will be more effective in developing leaders. Because remember, people don't follow what they hear, but they follow what they see. Okay? And you know what? I was also being intentional in developing leaders in my organization. But before you do that, you need to be intentional in developing yourself. But you know what happened to me eventually? I was just surprised because there are people in my organization, when they start seeing the skills in me, when I start teaching them the skills, because of the service that I have been offering them, that's what helped me earn their respect. And that's the reason I was able to have bigger influence on them. And as you have bigger influence on people, then the more that they will listen to you and they will copy whatever it is that you're also doing. So the last reminder, of course, being intentional will require you to really work hard. And if there's a reminder with regards to hard work, and this is what I would like to always share to people, a verse from the Bible, it came from Proverbs 6:6-11. Okay? Our goal is to always mature. Our goal is to grow up. Everyone grows old, but not everyone grows up. But I believe if all of us are growing up, then that means we're becoming mature. And when you're becoming mature, you're becoming wiser. And that's the goal. The goal is to become wiser. And when we make mistakes, we become wiser because we don't repeat those same mistakes again. Okay? And as we talk about being wise, again, we are being compared to the ant. It was said in the Bible. Now let's read it all together. It says there, go to the ant, you sluggard, consider its ways and be wise. So again, that's the goal, for us to become wiser. And I believe if we're becoming wiser, we're making wise decisions in all aspects of our lives, then growth will eventually follow. Okay? And to continue, it has no commander, no overseer, or ruler. So again, it's my fault attitude. Okay? Even if the ant has no commander, don't wait for your upline to tell you what to do. If you really intend and you're intentional to become successful, Yusana, you need to step up. You need to have the initiative, okay? To not wait for your upline to tell you what to do, not wait for your downlines to work, but you need to really start putting in the work towards your business. Yet it stores its provisions in summer and gathers its food at harvest. So the ant continuously eats its provisions in summer and gathers its food at harvest. This is a great reminder to all of you, and we're nearing to close. Okay, right now, a lot of people have regrets. You know why? Because during the lockdown, I believe a lot of people have learned their lesson, and I hope they have really learned their lesson. Because most of the time, people learn the lesson the hard way, and that's why they learn, because they learned the hard way. Okay, so why is it that I'm saying that people right now are learning from this lockdown? Because they have regrets, because I believe they know, okay, those people who are probably suffering right now have regrets because they know they haven't done the best that they could during the time when things are okay. Because no one expected this virus, no one expected this to become this worse. No one expected that it's going to have this huge impact in the global, right? But that's again a reminder. And even to most of you listening right now, or you have probably been introduced to Isan a long time ago, but it's only now that you made the decision. You know why? It's because sometimes when things are comfortable, okay, when you have a good job, that's when you opportunities that is being presented to you. And that's why we need to always adapt the mindset, okay, or the attitude that the ant has. Even if you're doing well in life, that's the reason why you don't need to stop. It's not because you're not contented, but it's just really because your principle is you want to make sure that whatever happens, I have this confidence in my heart and I will have no regrets that I have done everything that I could to prepare myself for whatever circumstances or crisis that may also arise in the future. And that's why I always say, don't wish for things to go back to normal. Don't wish for things to go back to normal so that you could go back to your normal life. No, because if you go back to your normal life and crisis like this would come up again, then you would probably go back to the same kind of life that you have right now. Right? So they always say problems, heartaches never leaves a person the same. We should all get out of this as a better person. Okay, and let's read on verse 9. Okay, how long will you lie there, you sluggard? When will you get up from your sleep? A little slumber. This is a scary verse, the verse 10. A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest. If you're a gold director, you're probably earning solid income right now. Just remember this verse. If you're a ruby director, an emerald, even me, I remind myself about this one. Even if I'm a diamond director, a star diamond director already. Okay, whenever I read this verse, and this is so true, a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest, and poverty. We need to give emphasis on that, all right? And poverty will come on you like a bandit, and scarcity like an armed man, right? So that's why there's a saying, the rich getting richer, the poor getting poorer. You know why? It's because people who have the poor mindset have the tendency to settle. And it's great to be in USANA because the leaders here, even our corporate, the top level managers of USANA would always remind us, be contented but never settle. Okay? And again, let me remind you that one of the great values that we can actually live by, okay, and one of the great satisfaction and fulfillment that we will have by the moment we all, get to the point that we're old and we're all about to leave this earth is we know that we have also done the best that we could. We have lived our life to the fullest. And that is what will prevent us having regrets in the future. Really get this. That's why if you're okay right now, even at this time of crisis, don't be complacent. This is the best time to still work harder because you're okay right now. Don't wait when things are not okay anymore, and that's the time you will work hard. You're going to work hard anyway. Then just keep on working hard. Remember, there's no retirement in doing good to people, and that's the opportunity that we have in USANA. It's we're helping people. We're helping people in terms of their health. We're helping people in terms of their finances. And again, we're helping improve the lives of people. And that's why there is no retirement in doing USANA. Okay, and be reminded about this sequence of success. Most people will say that if they're going to be paid $30,000 a month, then that's the time they will work hard. Again, don't make the sequence of success wrong. Okay, if you don't get $30,000, $50,000 or whatever income that you want, then that's the time you will work hard. Okay, the sequence is you work hard now, then you will have a shot at 500,000 or 30,000 or whatever income you have set for yourself, whatever goal you have set for yourself. And during this time of crisis, remember this, if you'll try to check the posts of people on social media, you will be seeing a lot complaining, the government, blaming the government. Again, if you're intentional, you stop blaming, you take full responsibility. And remember this, those who earns more are always laboring. Okay? And I've been reminded that if you are intentional and if you're intentional in improving yourself, if you're intentional in developing yourself, then you won't have time to criticize others. Okay? So that be busy on improving yourself, be intentional in improving yourself, then I believe you will have no time in criticizing others. So remember, those who earns more are always laboring, and those who earns less are always complaining and blaming other people for their misfortune in life. Okay, and I hope that wouldn't be you. Okay, and the second slide in closing. Okay, I think this is the third slide before we close, but I hope you have learned something. We are all familiar with space more on the responsibilities more than the rewards. So we all know the story of Spider-Man. He was bitten by a spider, and because of he acquired the power right away. Okay, and we all know that the story goes when his uncle was shot, and that's when his uncle told him, the great power comes with great responsibility. Okay, but the reason why I use Spider-Man is because somehow it is that the quote "with great power comes with great responsibility" doesn't really apply here in Usana. You know why? It's because again of the sequence of success. You don't acquire the power right away before you realize that there's a responsibility behind it. You embrace the responsibility first before you realize that there's power or there's rewards in embracing the responsibilities, right? So doing Usana is opposite from what happened with Spider-Man. Spider-Man got the power right away before he realized the responsibilities. But in Usana, the process is different. You have to realize first the responsibilities that you need to embrace before you receive the rewards or the power. Okay? And remember, Simon Sinek said this, if you don't like the cost of leadership, you may not accept the perks of leadership. Okay? If you will be intentional again in becoming successful in Usana, you would realize that it will require so much hard work, it will require so much sacrifices, it will require you to step up and take full responsibility and accountability of your results. Then you know that that is the cost of the rewards that you want to achieve in Usana. But again, let's all be reminded that it requires us to become a great leader before we get to develop leaders in our organization. But if you don't like the cost of leadership, again, you may not accept the perks of leadership. All right? And in closing, okay, this is the reality. It is now in closing. So I like this quote because it's a great reminder for all of us that right now a lot of people are just trying crisis, hoping no, myself 5 years from today. Where do I see myself 10 years from today? And be intentional in really making it happen. Okay? So it's a saying, you don't accept what happens, you don't just accept what happens to you, you create it. Okay? The best way to predict your future is to create it. Right now, you need to, again, when you're clear about what is it that you want for yourself, to for what you want to achieve, what you want to happen to your life, okay? Then remember this: always think about the long-term view of life and not just what's going to happen today or tomorrow. Because most people are like that; they're just focused on what's going to happen today, what's going to happen. No, be clear about your long-term vision, and as it is clear to you, whatever goals you have, then don't give up. What you want most in life, for something that you think you want now. Because I believe a lot of us wants to relax right now, wants to just stay at